guys, it's Finn. This might be one of my long videos, so I do apologise before I start. But I wanted to both talk a bit about drama therapy, because I said I would do a kind of review once I finished the whole thing. I finished in December and it's now March. Sorry about that. But also because I wanted to talk about some stuff that is just going on at the moment, head-wise, just thoughts, so I thought I'd put them out there. So, to talk a little bit about drama therapy and to recap if you haven't watched my earlier videos. The drama therapy was offered by Gendered Intelligence in London. Yeah, I just got an email asking if I would be interested in taking part. It was two therapists that were doing their master's degree in the Sesame School of Drama Therapy, Sesame Street. It's called Sesame Drama Therapy. It's not Sesame Street. And they just wanted, I think it was 8 people, I think, all in all. And I just went for it. I really do believe that my higher power sends me things, leads me to things I need to do. And if you've been watching my videos, I had some therapy early in hormone transition, just to help me a bit more to deal with my anxiety. Because although things had changed a lot, I was still having issues with anxiety getting in the way of just getting back to daily life. You know, I really got a drive to want to return to work. You know, I'm studying at the moment to be a therapist, and unless I get rid of this anxiety, I'm not going to be able to do that. And what came out of these sessions I had at my doctor's with a counsellor was basically that I need really just to let go of controlling so much. My anxiety comes from a real drive to want to control everything, to manage all the situations, to control all the variables so I know exactly what's going to happen, and then I'll be alright. When life's not like that. So I kind of left those 6 weeks of counselling with the doctor's counsellor with just the knowledge that I really had to just have more spontaneity in my life and just let go a lot more. And then lo and behold, I get an email about drama therapy, and I was so scared. It makes me wonder why I actually said yes, but I just knew it was right, and it was. And in order to deal with like spontaneity, that was definitely the way forward for me, and it helped so very much. I will say that if you're looking for some therapy and you're considering drama therapy, it is fantastic. The thing I think it works so well about it is because when you go to any other therapy, whether it's one-to-one or in a group situation, there is always the gap between being asked how you feel and responding. There's always that kind of, no matter how honest you try and be, you always try and frame it in the right way, or use the right words, or sometimes there aren't the right words. So there is still the element of bullshit, basically, in therapy. There always will be, no matter how much you want to engage with a therapeutic process. Language will get in the way, and wanting to say things in the right way, and in the interpretation will get in the way. Whereas with drama therapy, they use various different techniques over the weeks that we went there, but it's basically on the lines of just kind of responding with your body, making a body movement, making a noise, using materials. So like with the invisible Play-Doh thing, where we threw invisible Play-Doh at each other and we had to kind of mould it into something. So everything you're feeling from the past in the present is inside your body subconsciously, and you're bringing it out through just body movement and touch and imagination. So it removes the bullshit element, basically. It removes that kind of you can't control what happens. They say make a noise and you make a noise, and that is so powerful because things end up coming up that you just didn't even expect or didn't even know. You know, I went there because I knew I had ongoing anxiety, and I knew I needed to let go of that a bit more. But in terms of what came out of it, you know, it was just such a wonderful, freeing therapy. And the fact that it was with other trans people really helped as well, because I felt free to be myself completely. But it really stopped being about being trans and just became a really tight-knit group where there was just so much trust, and you know, I really learned to just let go and not worry about what people were thinking, and that was so hard, but it really did me the world of good. It's got nothing to do with acting. If anyone is thinking about doing this, it's really not about acting. It's based on kind of Jung principles of the subconscious and the unconscious. So yeah, there's kind of like art, guided stories where the therapist will talk you through a story and you kind of go and act it out and you take on parts. There was one guy in there that was so brave, and he kept doing the most outlandish things when prompted, and he kind of inspired me to go, if he could do it, I can. And it's just wonderful as well, because whenever I've had therapy in the past, like pre-3 years ago, and I was in my very sick, feel sorry for me stage, you know, I didn't properly engage with it. I needed the attention and all of that kind of stuff. Whereas now it's like, I do this therapy stuff because I really want to be the best I can be. You know, I am looking for self-actualisation. That's what I want. So I really engage with this process, and it's just such a lovely kind of comparison to the old me and the new me, just to look how much I felt the fear and did it anyway. I looked forward to these groups every single week, but when I got there I'd be like, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god. But it was amazing. It really, really was amazing, and I can't really explain what happens. It's one of those things where you have to just go, and even though I've been, I still really couldn't explain exactly how it happens. But the basic kind of thing is, you go, you do a little bit of a verbal check-in, how you feel, how your week's been, but actually the main part of it comes from unspoken noises, well, not unspoken, but kind of unscripted noises and movements. So you check in with a body movement of how you feel that week, you know, so it might be like, or whatever. It's so embarrassing, but it really, really works. What was really striking for me though, which is one thing that I've really got from it, that's really got me thinking at the moment, is my anxiety, because my drive for going there was to further deal with my anxiety, whether it be in learning to let go, learning to stop worrying about what other people, being more spontaneous, etc, etc. But what came out of it was quite interesting for me, as well as being an amazing help leading up to top surgery. I must say that before I forget, it was an amazing kind of process of getting out all the unconscious stuff about top surgery, the stuff that I didn't think was bothering me, that was just kind of, your body goes through a trauma, whether you want your chest done or not. You know, I want my chest done desperately, but my body was in trauma, and so drama therapy allowed all that to come out, which was amazing. Honestly, such the right time for this to be done it was. I'm gutted it's over. But anyway, waffling. I went for my anxiety, and I learnt something very, very interesting about my anxiety there. We did a task one week where we had to draw something to give to each other, and one of the guys there gave me a voucher for peace, because I'd been talking about how my anxiety was kind of crippling my life, and he handed me this and he said, you know, I just want you freedom, give you freedom from your anxiety and peace. And it was a coupon, and he said, and there's a tear-off strip at the side when you want to validate it. And this got me thinking about how much I might be hanging on to my anxiety as a kind of comfort blanket, in that maybe I was in some element scared to let the anxiety go, which kind of took me by surprise a bit. But it's true. We did this, I'm going to try and show you this picture, I don't know if it's going to come up on camera, but we did a kind of, a few weeks after that, we were given kind of a basket of photos to choose from. They were just kind of like postcards, pictures, all sorts of stuff. And I chose one with a very androgynous looking person. Were they naked? I don't know. They were very thin, and they were just in a very white room. It was very white, very plain, very androgynous looking person. You could definitely not see what gender they were. And we were asked to then write a story about them. And what they did was this. Split into 6 stages. You're probably not going to see all these. So the first thing was to name the person and where we saw them. I can't believe I'm showing you my personal artwork, but this is how much, you know, I think it's really important to show this stuff. So I named my person Phyllis, and I said that I saw them in a hospital. And immediately when I kind of said that, I knew that this story was going to be about me. My past is very hospital-based, whether it's been being sectioned, or being in there for self-harm, or drink and drug abuse. And it's hard to explain all these different stages of this thing, but I'm going to show you anyway, so you can just see it all. What's the purpose of me showing this? I don't know. But it basically was a story about the person in the photograph. But obviously by telling this story it ends up being about you, and it brings out your subconscious thoughts about yourself. And I very much realised that I was still holding on to this sick version of me. Maybe because at some level, even though I'd moved on from that, that was all I knew. And maybe also because it felt safe. If I knew myself as a person to be anxious, I knew myself at least, I had an identity. And also, I think the fear about going back to work and branching out in my life is that if I do that, I could relapse. I could pick up drink, I could pick up drugs, I could start self-harming, I could revert to eating disorders, I could revert to being very mentally unwell, I have a history of personality disorder, you know, all of this kind of thing. It's a massive thing, it is, and I realise I hold more fear about both slipping back to that and letting go of that, which is quite bizarre to understand. But as time's gone on since drama therapy, I've done much more reflecting on this, and I think it's a bit of an element of, I know how much I'm capable of, but I'm scared of trying in case I don't make it, or in case I relapse again. So there's a part of me that's just, better the devil you know, hanging on to it. And as drama therapy progressed, and I realised that I was normal nervous going, like anybody would be when you have to stand up in front of people and go, blah, 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 who's not going to be nervous, you know? But I realised that there wasn't really proper anxiety going on, and as the weeks have gone on with my hormone therapy, my anxiety is lowered, and I can honestly say I've been in situations now that although I'm getting sometimes some uncomfortability around my gender presentation and just being socially awkward in general because I'm still learning, it isn't really anxiety I'm feeling. And it's kind of weird to realise I've been saying I'm a person that has anxiety when I actually don't anymore. It's not my story anymore. Historically, and I'm using this word a lot at the moment to try and let go of my old story, is that historically I was a very anxious person. So I have to be careful, yes. No longer an anxious person that has to be careful. Is this making sense? I was historically anxious. I'm not anymore. Very rarely. So at the end of drama therapy, I tore that little coupon off, and I said, I'm redeeming this coupon. I'm letting go of that old anxious me, and I'm moving on. Such a powerful thing to go through. It's just been so amazing, and as I said, it really did help me through the process of surgery. And now in the new year, here I am, it's March and I'm healed. I still have a few issues going on, but I'm more than capable of working or what have you now. So I'm in the process of looking at some volunteer work, with the mindset of being a person who has historically had mental health problems. I'm still going to be careful. I'm going to start with doing a few hours of volunteer work and keep stepping it up. And if I'm going to volunteer in the areas in which I like, LGBTQ things, youth, drugs and alcohol, I'm going to volunteer in all of that, gradually up my hours, and hope that it leads to some kind of full-time work. And I'll do another vlog about this at some point, because I've made some kind of headway with that. But at the moment I just wanted to share how the anxiety is moving for me, and how it's continuing to move, and how I'm continuing to understand it. I'm reading a book at the moment which I think Riley recommended to me, but I'm not 100% sure. It's called The Way of Transition. Now, people recommend books to me, and I get them, and I have a look, and I think, oh, I'm not ready for that yet. They stay on my shelf, and then they just come off my shelf when I'm ready for them. It's quite bizarre. And I started reading this last night, and it's absolutely perfect. It's not about gender transition. It's about transition of change, anything that you change. And it was talking about how change is the thing. So, for example, if you want to move house, you move house, you move in. That's the change. The change is done, but the transition might not be happening. The transition is letting go of the old house, and then the period of time it takes you to feel at home in the new house. That is a transition. So you can make change, but you can often avoid that transition process. And I think that's what's going on for me at the moment, as well as a gender transition. It's a general life transition. Letting go of the old me that used to be historically anxious, being in this in-between phase at the moment where I'm not quite sure who I'm completely turning into yet, because my gender transition is also ongoing. So I'm kind of in this no man's land at the moment, where I'm just in this gap of transition, where I'm no longer the old me, but I'm still becoming the new me. So I'm in this kind of limbo in the middle. And that made so much sense to me. I think I'm going to get a lot from this book as well in terms of kind of more letting go. But that is the period I'm in. I think I am just got to continually let go. We all go through changes in our life, and we all go through these transitions where we let go of the old and get ready to embrace the new. But it's usually a beginning and an end. But with gender transition, hormone surgery, it's kind of a continuing limbo. I'm not she anymore, and I'm definitely more he, but I ain't quite completely he yet. Hormones are still doing their job. Surgery is still healing. More surgery might be happening. So it's no wonder that I'm at times latching on to that past anxious person, because it's all I know, but actually it's no longer true for me. So I'm trying to just, every day in the day, what is my story today? The story of me being anxious was then. That isn't me now. However, my story is a person of historical anxiousness. So the decisions I make have to be based around that, in that I can't go, right, I'm going to go to work, 47 hours a week, I'll be fine. It's likely that I won't be completely fine. Am I making sense? So yeah, I think realising that life for me isn't so much building the new at the moment, because I'm still becoming the new. It is a process of letting go. And I think why sometimes I think, oh God, I thought I knew that. Why is it all happening again? Because I felt really off lately, if you've watched my last video. And I think, what have I done wrong? Why has it all gone? Nah. It isn't that I've done it wrong. It's just that there is no concrete truth. Your truths are constantly changing. My truths about myself are constantly changing. And you're constantly seeing it in a new light. So as I continue to grow and change, what I knew yesterday isn't quite as true. You know, so this state of being, the limbo, is still existing. But I have to let go of the story of me being an anxious person, because I'm not anymore. I'm just not. Transition for me, there are two things in my life that have definitely knocked my anxiety out of the ballpark, and that's getting sober was a massive drop in anxiety there, and then starting hormones, massive drop in anxiety there. And I think the next drop is going to come from me just becoming more socially comfortable, because that's the thing I'm noticing now, that although I was saying I'm anxious, drama therapy's made me realise and look at situations in you and realise that I'm not anxious. I spoke about a situation at my brother's last week where I felt socially awkward and socially less than because there were a lot of cis males, and I still feel at odds when I'm with cis male company. I still don't quite know how to act. I've been socialised as female, and the socialisation with males is very different, and I'm still adapting to that. I could fit when I was female more, because it was cool that I was this tomboy female, so they kind of accepted me in that way. But whereas now I'm male and seen as male, it's different. So I'm just looking at situations you knew that I'm actually not anxious. Let go of that. My issue now is I'm just socially awkward, and the way I'm going to deal with that is by getting back to work, and by practice, and by continually letting go. And there's some stuff I think I'm still hanging on to because I miss it. I miss some of my old friends, even though I love them, and if you're watching, you know, I still think a lot of everybody, but that period of my life is gone. I'm no longer at home in the gay community, mainly because I don't drink and I don't like that kind of scene, and it's just not me, and I'm older. I'm 40, I want to sit at home with a cup of tea, you know, I'm a boring old fart, and I like it. You know, so I think, watch the story I tell myself. I think that's what I'm learning at the moment. Every time something comes in my head about how I think I am, I'm going, am I? Is that true for me now? Is it? Or was it historically true? This is a bit of a waffling vid, but I just wanted to get some of that down. And because I'm trying to just keep a log of how this is happening for me. Because this for me isn't just about my gender transition, it's about my life transition. It's about me becoming whole at last. About my healing from just years of being unwell. That transition, gender transition is a part of for sure, but you know, I like to talk about all of it. So yeah, hopefully information for other people, but more of a kind of ongoing log of it all for me as well. So I'm going to leave that there. I will update about the work situation in a shorter vlog soon. So take care of yourselves, everybody. Please do send me a message if you can relate to any of this, or give me any more info, or suggest any books. I'm always open for books. Take care of yourselves. See you soon. Bye bye.